I know you in there. Come out right now. Drop the motherfucking clamps.
That son of a bitch doesn't have a dick.
Last night, I was standing there looking at a monitor. On one camera was Linda Hamilton, and on another camera was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right, you're tuning into the Variant Verdict. Today we're talking about San Diego Comic-Con 2019, and first big news out of Hall H was Tim Miller's new
Terminator: Dark Fate.
Yes, and yeah, this one's got me all sorts of excited.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It looks cool. I'm excited. Arnold looks great in the trailer.
Oh yeah. Also at the same time, I just enjoy how it feels like it might be resurrecting the series in a sense and going back to Terminator 2, and we got fucking James Cameron back.
Well, we just happen to have somebody who hasn't watched a lot of the Terminator films on deck with us here today.
Yeah. So the question is, why is this movie different than the sequels to Terminator: Judgment Day?
I think Tim Miller is a hopeful reason to look back on this. I think the R rating he announced at the panel excites me quite a bit, and it takes it back to its roots.
Yeah, no, for sure. As well as you also have like Sarah Connor's back, and the whole thing about this to me is that ever since Part 3, ultimately, it's never excited me. Like I was really excited for Part 3. It didn't live up to what I was hoping it would, and ever since Salvation, everything like that, just
it's just been a sliding group of failures.
Yeah.
So yeah, this definitely gets us a little excited for the new Terminator movie, and the whole thing was played out really funny during San Diego Comic-Con. Tim Miller was just kind of he being completely unhinged, and basically he even made a joke with Arnold Schwarzenegger that he would give him $20 if he said fuck more than 5 times and before the panel even started, and he definitely did that. It was an interesting panel. It was a lot of fun, and it was cool to see Linda Hamilton get so much love from the audience. Same with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I think everybody loves him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the reason we're excited for the new Terminator movie. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and supposedly even like I'm hearing weird rumors. I don't know if this is right. Like Edward Furlong's supposed to be doing some weird motion capture thing. So like
and I'm not sure how that will even pan out. 'Cause
Yeah.
Just do a quick Google image of Edward Furlong. He's definitely not movie ready. So, whatever the fact is, that character is so important to the story. So whatever they're doing, it seems like they're cooking up something interesting with it, and it's definitely, at the very least, it's going to be an interesting movie.
No,
I think we can all agree with that.
And if you haven't finished it, please watch Terminator 2.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch the first 2 again. It's been a long time. I skimmed over them the first time.
Greatest sci-fi action movie ever.
Classic.
Many, many times. Nearly 2 decades ago, Commander Data sacrificed his life for me. These past few years, I really tried to belong here.
Number 4 on our list. Me not being a big Trek fan, this one was kind of difficult to put on there, but I felt like it would have been a huge disservice to not include this either, and that's the 90-minute panel that CBS conducted with all of the streaming services for Star Trek.
Picard.
Yes, that includes Discovery, Picard, and I'm not sure. There's a new animated one that we just announced at Comic-Con called Lost Decks.
Okay.
So that was a total of 3 streaming shows that are coming from CBS All Access, which I imagine was the ones that were behind the whole panel. They had 90 minutes. A lot of big things were announced, including a lot of big cast members returning to the series for the first time in years. But let's look at the footage. We saw Picard. What did you think of how it looked?
Well, honestly, I actually think that the production quality, everything about it is really good looking. It doesn't look like it's something that CBS is just throwing together on a set and sending it out there, which they easily could and have done with the series forever. This almost feels like HBO or like a high budget, nice film, great sets.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like they put out the Twilight Zone. They got some sort of pocket money, and now their production levels next. It's really, really impressive.
And they want to push that service.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the Twilight Zone, check it out. It's pretty good. I mean, the first 3 episodes or so, where they kind of reshoot like classic like episodes from the Twilight Zone, and they're really good, and especially the first episode with Kamal Nanjiani.
The stand-up.
Yeah, he's playing
episode.
a stand-up
very good.
comedian. It's worth checking out. It looks like CBS is trying to put together some quality entertainment. So
I also think that the panel definitely demonstrated that they're aware that the fans are out there. It seems like they're bringing back a ton of the members of the next generation, and I know a ton of people out there absolutely adore that version of Star Trek. That's the one that they grew up with.
That's like the Star Trek.
That includes Marita Sirtis. That includes Brent Spiner coming back as Data. That includes Jean-Luc Picard being played by Patrick Stewart.
Might I add something?
Yeah, of course.
When Brent came out, I swear to God, his pop was louder than Patrick Stewart's. Like straight up. Like
yeah, and none of these actors said they'd ever do another Star Trek project again. So I think that's what caught everybody off guard with this panel, especially with Brent Spiner coming out. We already knew about Picard, but this was like cherry on the cake for everybody.
And then you have
out there.
7 of 9. I think that's her name. See, I'm not the biggest Star Trek guy.
Jerry Ryan, who played 7 of 9, is returning from her Voyager role to play 7 of 9 in Picard. I think fans are hugely excited about it.
I could be wrong, I could be right, but I think she did have a small part in The Next Generation, so that also could be where it is linked. She was more in Voyager, though.
I was more excited for what they had to announce. I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan, but I do know that these are some really exciting things for the fans that are out there, because we do read that stuff, and it seems very clear that they're not going anywhere, despite J.J. Abrams not being involved with the series anymore in the movies. That CBS is taking full advantage of them on their streaming service.
Picard is back.
Exactly. Oh, and the enemies, the Borgs and the Romulans, which is definitely going to make some people out there happy, because those are like the most beloved of the Star Trek, besides the Klingons, obviously.
Well, when it comes
they're
to
definitely
villains,
like beloved for the villains in the Star Trek universe.
So from what I heard, again, all rumor and innuendo, but it's there's a good chance that they're saying like they're going to be a big part of, like they're going to be a lot of their what antagonist side, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah, they do show like the Borg cube at one point in the Picard trailer. I mean,
and you have 7
again, I wish I can go into like crazy detail about this, but I can't, because I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan. I just know enough about it, that this is something that definitely excited people. It was a big deal, and they had a huge part of Hall H, so that's why it was our number 4.
Tell me you guys have no idea there's a new comic book movie being made of the old comic book movie you two are the basis for.
That old-ass star-studded piece of shit, that movie sucked balls.
Sucked asshole, too.
Your Honor, I object.
I'll allow it. That movie did suck balls and asshole.
And number 3.
Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Yes. Yeah. All right. This is a movie that it's a sequel to a 2001 movie that's rebooting that movie. And I just have a feeling this is going to be just like a big fourth wall barrier kind of breaking movie.
Just like Strikes Back.
Yes, I think 2001 Strikes Back seemed to focus on Hollywood wanting to reproduce everything. I think this one's going to go into the fixation that Hollywood has with reboots. Mm-hmm. That's what it seems like.
I can't fucking wait for this movie. I love Jay and Silent Bob movies, so this is going to be something I'm instantly going to be into, and I can't wait to see it. It's fucking...
Shout out to New York Comic Con, by the way. Got that Blonde Man and Chronic shirt at New York Comic Con.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely excited for this one. Ben Affleck notoriously has not worked with Kevin Smith since, Jersey Girl? Which was so poorly received, and it's really such a sad note to leave off on, because he did so much great work with Kevin Smith between Chasing Amy, Dogma, Mallrats, and whatnot. So it's great to see them two working back together. I feel like this one's going to take... This is the movie that will be perfect for me, because it's a collection of all of my favorite 90s comedies, kind of culminating his whole career, and I think this is like kind of like a swan song almost.
Yeah, I mean, basically the entire cast of every single one of his movies. I mean, not every actor, but like for the most, you're getting about like 80% of the actors are coming back. The
cleverly
Jason Lee from Chasing Amy, he's
Brody.
coming.
Mallrats and Brody.
Yeah, he's
and it seems like in much the same role that he had in 2001 Strikes Back, he'll be kind of setting these guys off on their adventure to stop the reboot.
I think I even saw Anton for a split second. I think everybody's fucking coming back.
Yeah. The one that surprised me, though, I think for the trailer drop, was the Matt Damon Bartleby return from Dogma.
Yeah, that would be great.
He is in the trailer.
That'll be great.
That blew my mind. That one caught me off guard. I want to see Joey Lauren Adams, though, from Chasing Amy. Infamously played the main character from that film. I want to see how they all factor in. This has got me so curious. Jay and Silent Bob's Jay's daughter is being played by Harley Quinn Smith, the real
Kevin
daughter
Smith's
of Kevin
actual
Smith,
daughter.
who people always jokingly say to Kevin online that his daughter looks more like Jay than him. So it's kind of a nice little nod that he did that.
Yeah, he
talked
probably
about
did
that.
it in response to all that, which is fantastic. But
And the other cool thing he had talked about at the panel this year, I thought was interesting. It's notorious that Clerks 3 is not launched off the ground because every time there's been a script or it's been ready to be financed, it seems like Jeff Anderson, the actor who plays Randall, will not come back to reprise the role. He's been pretty adamant about not being typecast, which is really strange for such a small actor.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess Kevin Smith's confident now that he's got a rejuvenated friendship with Ben Affleck during the making of this film, having thrown him in last minute. That he really thinks he'll write a new draft for Clerks 3 and bring that back to life. And that has me excited. Seems like Kevin Smith's having like the biggest fucking year of his career.
Yeah. He almost
really
died.
does.
He came back to...
Yeah, it's like every day there's a new Kevin Smith thing. So that's why this had to be on the list as number 3. This is just so big. And it really seems like the culmination of something that he's been leaning towards. He had a lot of falls in the early 2000s, in my opinion. This could be his big redemption, and I think it will be. I really think it looks
Kevin
like a
Smith
good
is
return.
cashing in all the favors.
Yeah, I think we need to go back to the Viewisk universe, and I don't know. I'm excited to go back.
just
to
give me Clerks 3. It's all I want.
Yes, that's all I.
I remember hearing stories about witches. Is it true what they say?
Elves are the original sorcerers of the continent. When humans and monsters arrived, elves taught humans how to turn chaos into magic. And then the humans slaughtered them.
Number 2, The Witcher. Henry Cavill made his return to Hall H, not in the form that we expected, which would be Man of Steel 2, but...
The Witcher, it's being adapted by Netflix with Henry Cavill taking the lead as Geralt of Rivia. In the trailer, we see him as... I've played The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and he looks very similar to Geralt, which I was excited about. He has a lot of, like, the chiseled facial features. Everything was on point. I noticed a lot of people were talking about how he doesn't have the scar, and he carries, like, a Witcher medallion, typically. In the trailer, he doesn't show the Witcher medallion. It's more of some sort of, like,
Wolf
some
pendant.
strange trinket. But my guess is that I don't really know the books too well. From what I know, they don't follow the games too closely, but I'm excited to see where it goes. He has I do know he gets a second sword because in the Witcher lore, Geralt carries 2 swords because he's a Witcher. They have one that's silver for slaying demons and ghosts and goblins and whatnot, and then one for slaying humans. So he doesn't have any of that gear yet. He doesn't have the iconic scar across his eye.
So we're kind of prepared for a long journey with these characters.
I think it
seems like they're kind of starting from the very beginning of the canon for Witcher.
I always heard that this, once this was all coming out, this is the books. Where people are instantly going to think of, Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt, even though it looks like it. And, I mean, it should. But it's... The video game, from what I heard, also took a lot of liberties on the main story. I never read the books, but
I also think they had a tough job. They had to adapt a video game from a book.
Yeah.
You're playing a playable story, and I don't think that's an easy job. So
No.
they have to take liberties.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so I think that actually going into the books, almost like Jack, what you said, where the medallion, I'm hearing a little bits of people complaining about how he doesn't have the right medallion. He doesn't have the medallion
Because he hasn't been trained as a
Is
Witcher.
there anything,
Exactly.
If
not a
someone
Witcher
who
yet.
just got done watching Game of Thrones, they were done season 8, and they asked you about this show, how would you describe it to them?
I mean, basically,
Based on the footage that you saw,
more
I
or
should
less,
say.
it's following this. You have the same characters, like Yennefer, his kind of love interest. Ciri is mentioned in it, who's kind of like this prodigious, genius Witcher. If you don't know what a Witcher is basically, it's like it's kind of hard to explain, but it's more or less like a warrior with magic. So they're like magical knights. They have the powers to trap ghosts. They can see people, beings of power, and more or less they get hired. They're like mercenaries who are hired to slay these witches and demons that inhabit villages. So the villages will call them, place the bounty. They come kill them. I think it looks really good. I mean, you see Geralt riding his horse through the woods.
For someone who only has seen footage, this looks like a really fun show. I hope it does well because Netflix has a lot riding, I think, on the future of their streaming service, especially with all the competitors they're going to have come November. So I think it'll be really interesting how this show kind of falls in line with everything that comes out and what it does for Netflix as a brand, because they need all the originals that they can get. And what they're doing with anime, I think they're doing a really good job in that department. He and I actually just spoke about that recently, and they're really they're upping their game because they really have to with Disney Plus coming around the corner, which is actually going to bring us to our next one.
Yes. So this is phase 4. This is phase 4. Thank you. Now, there's a lot of other stuff we didn't get a chance to talk about today. We didn't even mention that we're making Black Panther 2. Didn't come up. We didn't mention the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming. We didn't have time to talk about Captain Marvel 2 on the way. I didn't even have time to talk about the Fantastic Four. And there's no time left to talk about mutants.
Number 1, Marvel takes Hall H. I mean, this to me was a dead given. That this was going to, because to me it was the most exciting part about watching Comic-Con was seeing what Marvel brought.
What the hell do you start with in this?
There's nowhere to start. There's too much.
I guess
we could start that Avengers Endgame took the #1 spot for
Kevin Feige. Yeah, he came right out. One of the very first things he said was tonight, or tomorrow night, within the next 48 hours, more or less, that they would take Avatar's supreme spot as the #1 worldwide grossing film of all time, which they've done since, so he was on point with that. And the other thing about this is that, this isn't a victory lap for the Avengers, okay? They could have spent, of the 90-minute panel, they could have spent a high majority of this, parading around the legacy Avengers, giving them one last chance to be in front of that crowd in San Diego Comic-Con, which he'll never do again. It's done. The Infinity Saga, which, by the way, has its own official logo. Yeah. If you guys saw the panel. Really? Yeah, they have the official Infinity Saga logo, which I imagine will be on future home video release branding. But yes, it's got a logo. It's a definitive set now. After Endgame, it's a whole new world for Marvel, and they're definitely going in some interesting directions. It seems like their Phase 4 slate, which is super exciting. It's just not going in the same format that we're used to. We're not going to get an Avengers movie at the end of this. If we're to believe what we saw, we'll be getting Thor, God of Lightning, Thor, Thunder and Lightning, or Thunder and Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder, that's what it was. Yes, that'll be the last film of this phase.
Yeah, featuring Natalie Portman also as female Thor.
Yes. I guess we'll start off all the announcements on that. Yeah, so Natalie Portman is the female Thor.
I know you're not terribly excited about that.
I've always said she's one of the more wooden aspects of the MCU. I wasn't clamoring for more.
But she's never been a female Thor.
Yeah, no one has. That's what's gonna make me. And Taika Waititi is so fucking charming, and so is Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth. I'm all about anything they're involved with. I think it's going to be great. Also, the Eternals cast. I mean, we got to see Angelina Jolie, Kamal Nanjiani looking swole as fuck. It blew my mind.
Salma Hayek.
Yeah, I mean, this cast is so eclectic. It's so different, and he made no buts about it. This is a Jack Kirby story. They're going to be directly influenced by the art style of Jack Kirby. I expect this one to be a little bit trippier.
It's going to get strange.
Yeah, exactly. Just like my boy Doctor Strange, which reminds me.
Oh, yes.
Well, let's start by saying that the way that this is all set up now, we have these Disney Plus shows that are going to be debuting between films.
Yep.
Which I think they're trying to make essential viewing to enjoying these films. So for future people out there, it looks like the future of Disney is going to be on the Plus streaming service. And
so here's a good question. Do you think they're going to take them to the extent where, like, if you don't watch these shows, you're not going to be able to know what's going on in the movies?
That's a good question, but I think so. I think it was heavily implied that the WandaVision show will leave off directly with Scarlet Witch's character, Wanda Maximoff, going to Doctor Strange, which will be taking place in the timeline following WandaVision at the time of its theatrical release. So they are definitely tying them, which is a very interesting thing.
It's interesting, yes, but at the same time, with this fan base and everything going on, who's not going to watch them?
Well, here's my question. Will this be seasonal based? Will they be miniseries? Will we see a Loki season 2 if season 1 is successful?
If they can make the story work with it. That's the way I look. Like, I think we even discussed this earlier, where as long as it doesn't stretch out the story to where it's like ridiculous, then we're fine. But as long as it can lead or continue something on, a season 2 might work.
Yeah, we all want to see how the Winter Soldier and Falcon. We want to see what those characters are up to since Endgame, but we want to know how does Falcon acclimate to becoming Captain America. He's not going to do this overnight. And the cool thing about these miniseries is that we do get the chance to spend 8 hours with these characters in these big transitions in the Marvel Universe we wouldn't otherwise be able to do in a 2-hour film.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, exactly.
It grants them a lot of opportunities. WandaVision sounds absolutely bizarre. It's like a 50s style, kind of like a family television show. And the funny thing is, we have no idea how Paul Bettany is back as Vision. His character was last dead. Spoiler. If you haven't seen Infinity War, he's dead. So we have no idea how that character is being brought back.
Yeah, but I mean, from now on, we really don't know what's going on. I mean, Doctor Strange's title is the multiverse.
Doctor Strange in the into the multiverse of madness.
Yeah.
I mean, this title sounds something like a 50s pulp magazine. The way that Attack of the Clones from Star Wars sounds like a 60s sci-fi movie or something. Very much in that vein. I like what Marvel's doing. The funny thing about that panel too is that Doctor Strange said that it's going to be the first foray into horror.
Really?
And real quickly, Kevin Feige stopped him and said, "Well, it's still going to be PG-13." So Marvel's not taking that many risks here. But it's kind of cool that they're informally announcing that this is a horror film and they're going to embrace that. Because Doctor Strange is a sorcerer. If they're going to go horror with any franchise in their wheelhouse, it's Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it can handle the darkness.
Exactly. And I would say the biggest cherry on the cake for fans out there was at the very end. And this was what's funny is that a lot of people were trying to predict what Marvel was going to bring to Hall H. Kevin Feige made a point to say this is one that was not on the rumor mill. This one was just thrown out there, and I imagine it was just put together last minute. Mahershala Ali announced his Blade. That was huge, and Hall H went fucking bananas because at that point of the panel, they had already just played the first new footage of Black Widow, which looks like kind of like a spy movie. It's very different from what Marvel's. It's very self-contained, much smaller storytelling. It looks like than other Marvel movies in their franchises.
That looks like it's going to be connected to 5 other movies.
And they did establish a timeline. This will take place between or after the events of Civil War, but before
Infinity War.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I know it's not as previously rumored that she's going to be training with the Russian KIB or something, and she's going to be like a teenager.
I would have liked that.
Yeah. Like I guess Joss Whedon hinted at a storyline like that in Age of Ultron with some shots of her at the ballerina school and all that.
Yeah, that might be a little too dark, though. I mean, she gets like sterilized there. Her graduation.
They're calling this
they already talked about it. Like it's already a known fact.
I mean that's true. That's true.
So there's definitely some. There's so much news. There's Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, which we found out that Mandarin Iron Man 3, while that was a fake out, he actually is out there, and he will be a real villain in this upcoming Shang-Chi movie, which does have a Asian American director, Asian American cast. It seems like they're really leaning heavy into, even if it's unknown to people, like they're taking chances. They are the dominating studio right now.
No, yes, hands down.
Yeah, Kevin Feige literally dropped bombs. Fantastic Four also.
And then casually at the end, he says, "Oh, in our docket, I think he mentioned Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, Guardians 3, and then offhand comment about Fantastic Four and Mutants."
Yeah.
So take that however you want.
I mean, which is amazing. But actually, there's one thing that we haven't talked about yet, which, I mean, obviously I'm excited for everything to come, but there's something I'm actually really excited for, and I was a big fan of these when I used to read comics growing up, and that is the What If series.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah,
they're really going to a lot of crazy places. I forgot they brought Jeffrey Wright out from Westworld fame,
Yeah. The Watcher.
Yeah, he's going to be playing the Watcher, who kind of goofingly played by Stan Lee, if you remember, has his little cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2.
Yeah, 2.
That was kind of the same role I think Jeffrey Wright will be stepping into. I'm not sure if he'll be interacting with the characters. He did mention on the stage at Hall H that Watcher will have to intervene. He didn't ever say in what capacity. It does appear that he'll be playing like a Twilight Zone kind of narrator.
Yeah, that's
Which, I mean, that's
all
what
the
Watcher,
Rod Serling.
That's what the Watcher was. He was the narrator. Like, technically, all those little blips of storytelling and narrating that you're seeing.
Yeah, very
technically
Rod
the Watcher is
Serling
telling you all the
style,
time.
kind of, this is a story, blah, blah, blah. And the cool thing is, they showed you the cast of all the actors involved with this show. Did you guys get a chance to see
No, I
that?
didn't
The only
see
one
it.
I didn't see, which I'm pretty sure was obvious, was Robert Downey Jr., but
Yeah.
everybody else is in
It seems
this.
like everyone else really got on board with it. Robert Downey, unfortunately, will not be
Come on,
participating.
Robert.
Yeah, Robert, what's
Come
going on?
on!
You got a lot of big names. It looks like Killmonger. I saw a lot of faces on there. So it's really cool. Those characters are dead, and that's why I brought that up. They can do whatever they want.
Well, no, it's the
Yeah.
What If series. You can literally do anything. Now, here's my question / concern of it all is this like brand new stories that they're going to come up with the MCU, and they're going to start making
Well,
like
there's
that?
ones I imagine they could adapt, and there's ones that are
Like,
going to be tougher.
can we get like what if Silver Surfer gets the Infinity Gauntlet? Can we get what if Punisher killed Spider-Man, or what if Punisher killed Daredevil, or what if the symbiote never left Peter Parker? All of those are fucking great, and
Yeah.
it's like I
And
really
George
hope
Perez
they
did a
redo
lot
it.
of the original artwork for those books, much the way he did the Infinity Gauntlet and all those other famous covers. So that would be great. And I think with What If, the thing is, I know that the one that they showed at the show, it seemed like is What If Peggy Carter was Captain America.
Oh yeah, that was another one.
And
yeah.
it's cool because I would like to see Haley Atwell again play that character. She was great in her short time in Endgame, so it's cool that they have a chance to bring these little people back into the fold somehow.
Absolutely,
You
and they're
know?
all like brand new stories per episode. Like they're all just they're not connected to anything.
We can safely assume this is probably an anthology show.
I would say it's
Yeah.
like
Mostly.
you could almost exactly. It's every episode's going to be different.
Yeah,
and
just like the
it's
Twilight Zone, as you said. It'll
And,
just-
and this is the last question we should end this on, maybe because we haven't, of all the things Marvel really we haven't got to, but what about Loki? Will this be an anthology show? Because this is being described as he grabs that cube in Endgame, and this is where he ends up. He'll be going through periods of time changing events.
Now that's the thing is this could easily just be one of those connection series that we were talking that are leading into other movies. It's just like for all we know, where we see all these certain series going in one direction, Loki could be going towards like the next Thor movie.
But
Because
all the things
it's
I
been
actually am
announced.
TV show wise, this is the one I'm most excited about. I like Tom Hiddleston.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love this character. I also like that he's at the most batshit crazy point of being Loki when this all happened, and it's like my favorite time of him being that character is what they're focusing on. That'll be really cool, and I think that with Marvel, they killed it this year. They fucking absolutely smashed Hall H with their announcements. I'm definitely excited for the future of the Marvel movies, and that's why it had to be number one. I mean, it couldn't have been anything else. This year was dominated by the MCU.
And also, I mean, if you look at it, like one panel, Terminator, another panel, Picard. They mentioned one or two other things in there, but like Marvel's like, here's the next 10 years of your life.
Yeah, and like I said, I love that Kevin Feige came out and said, instead of let's talk about the end game, that's over. Let's talk about the future. And they literally spent like, what are we doing from here to 2021? And that was what the panel was, and they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that was the 2019 our picks for pretty much the 5 biggest things that came out of the 2019 San Diego Comic-Con. So
If there's anything that you guys feel we missed, you tell us, and
Leave
you
it
can
in the
comment.
comments.
Exactly, you can comment. Tell us what you thought the best part about this year's Comic
And
Con
remember
was.
to like,
Share,
subscribe,
subscribe.
and ring the bell.
Yeah.